Namaste Ji Namaste. Welcome to Courtroom by TLOI. Today we have with us Shreya Mahajan, NLU Odisha rank 10, NLSAT rank 42, MHCET 3-year LLB 99.5 percentile plus. Right. So today we are going to be discussing with her as to how she prepared and well, what all can you tell us about your preparation, so that if presume that you are watching this interview just like you watched interviews last year
Right.
and make it a helpful session. So we start off with, when did you join the batch and how much time do you think it takes to prepare a NLSAT first, then we talk about the other exam as well.
So I joined the batch end of August, and but my proper preparation started around Jan end.
Okay.
So for me, it took me around 2.5 to 3 months for me to properly prepare for the exam, seriously. But I think I should have started sooner, because for me, those 3 months were just study. And I could not even give myself a break because I thought I was lagging behind from other students. So if I have to like tell other students who have to like give the paper what time they should take, keep it between like a frame of minimum 4 months. Could be more, could be less, depending on how equipped you are with, how comfortable you are with studying in general, reading, writing, sub. So 4 or 5 months is what I would say.
Right.
It's not that you can't do it in less, but it's just a safer number to have.
And you were in a gap year.
Yeah, I took a gap year.
Right. So you were in a job, or how was it working?
So I finished my undergraduate in June, and I started an internship in July, which went on till December end. Hence, I wasn't very focused on the prep itself till December. And after that, Jan is when
and graduation stream was?
I graduated with a major in philosophy and a minor in political science.
Okay, so that's great. So law couples out with both of those subjects. Right. Eventually, it stems into that. ठीक है जी. Now, NLU Odisha also we fetched a brilliant rank. NLU Odisha ka paper, did you supplement? You were in the full batch, or you were in the NLSAT only batch?
I was in the NLSAT only batch.
NLSAT only batch. And NLU Odisha जिनको target करना हो तो उनके लिए भी you will advise the same timeline, 4 to 5 months?
Probably less also, because the paper requires less than what NLSAT did, in my opinion.
Yeah.
3 months seems decent for NLU Odisha.
Right. So if in a gap year we are talking about 3 to 5 months, for people in college, then you take an extra month, basically around 6 odd months.
Yeah.
Right. So somewhere around the August to September time frame, and then basically extended out till February, so that you are absolutely ready by March and April just to attempt. Okay. Now we start off, I usually go part A, part B essay, but we start off with your first mock score in the NLSAT.
Okay. My first mock score was so bad, I didn't even send it for checking of part B. I got a 37 in my first mock, and I took my first mock in March, which I think was a very bad decision, because it made me not want to give the paper anymore.
Yeah.
But then I
would have also advised.
but then I told and I gave myself 10 days, and I told myself that you give the next mock after 10 days and take your score to like at least above 45.
Achha.
Second mock ka 10 days mein itna target rakha, and that happened then.
Okay, great.
And then I was like, okay, keep setting targets like this and take your mock score up, and just needed
so
that boost.
We ended up going through around 8 mocks for last year, right? And last wala mock you said you were attempting in you attempted in the classroom.
Yes.
Okay. Now we talk about specifically about part A. What to do about part A?
What to do about part A?
As in advice to a student who's watching this.
So I am someone who's not very comfortable with sitting and reading for long periods of time. So I had to actually force myself to sit down and read. So not only did I, obviously I timed the mocks, but also in terms of the reading material you gave us, even the essays that were uploaded on the portal, even if they were 4 pages long, I timed my reading for those also. So I started a stopwatch, I would start reading it, and I would tell myself that per page 2 minutes se zyada nahi lagana.
Right.
And obviously that didn't happen on the first attempt. It took a few tries, but after that I became familiarized with reading to the point that I was no longer bored if I was reading.
Right.
And then eventually that turned into this interest in reading, that I liked reading what I was studying. So I think that is one very important component that you need to develop if you want to sit for the exam, in my opinion. Because so just to like go a little off the track, I even attempted CLAT after my 12th, and that is the batch where the reading pattern, the exam pattern changed for CLAT.
2020.
It was very 2021, I think, heavy reading wala when they introduced. So back then I did not do very well in it because I did not have a reading background. I was just not good in reading at all. But I developed that for NLSAT. I told myself that you need to focus on reading, especially you need to increase your reading speed. You need to be more so there were three things mainly that I needed to focus on for part A. I started by reading the PYQs, the past year question papers, and I realized that okay, there was some assistance that I needed in terms of like coaching. That's when I decided to enroll. I technically started my prep in July. I studied for like a few days and then I just dropped it. And then I picked it up in August. Then I enrolled and I dropped it again. Then I finally picked it up in Jan. So mainly for part A, I wasn't much of a newspaper reader. So this is a habit I had to build. This is also some advice that I got from my seniors who are in NLS currently. They told me that you need to build some habit of reading the newspaper. One, because again, current affairs will be easier to tackle. And second, it'll just instill a quality of reading in you, which I think was very important. Second thing I did was, this is not a very conventional way of studying. So what I used to do was, I took one mock that you had given. I just picked out like the types of questions it had. I went onto like an AI bot. I feed in that paper, and then for every essay or every reading material that you had provided to us, be it even like a half a page essay, I put it into the AI bot. I gave them the sample. I told them to create 10 questions out of this for every single essay. 10 questions how 3-4 strengthening, 3-4 weakening, and a few inferences / conclusion. So I think that again put me at an advantage because speed, that helped with my speed, and that made me more familiar with the paper pattern itself. Because I noticed that a lot of times in part A, the option choices were quite long. So not only do you need to spend time reading the essay, you also need to focus quite closely on the options itself. So I think doing this exercise helped me do that, where I read more closely, I quickened my speed. Other than that, I had this routine where I read the newspaper daily. Even if I couldn't read like all of it, I set up the time that 1.5 ghanta, 1.5 hour, padna hi padna newspaper. So that would be the first thing I do in the day.
Right.
I would when I start studying, read the newspaper. Then I would go on to doing either some practice questions or learning some GK. So one more important thing for me was, since I started reading the newspaper quite late, tackling the GA or like the CA part became a little difficult for me. And I was worried that a lot of people have been reading a newspaper daily, and how do I compete with those people? Then of course the notes, the modules that you gave, the Hulk file that you had provided, that I went through that. I would watch the videos you made for current affairs. I would write down each of the current affairs. I would make handwritten notes. And I remember in the month of April, what I did was I turned all my handwritten notes into like a PDF. I typed all the questions out, the particular options answers out. I would bug my friends that, listen, quiz me on this GK. I would give them the PDF. It would have like 200 odd questions, and I would tell them to ask me any 20-30 at random. And I think that is what helped me stay on my toes in terms of when current affairs and GK was sorted. Especially in the paper, when I was attempting the paper, I realized that a lot of questions were from the notes we had gotten. So that definitely worked out.
I have an input to make. So for example, what she did, so I shoot current affair lectures on a monthly basis and then send out notes on a quarterly basis. Now the thing is that any student such as Shreya here, who makes the effort to actually watch those lectures and write it down. I have a formula कि pen चलेगा तो याद रह जाएगा.
Definitely.
Versus जो notes जो मैं बना के दे रहा हूँ, so these are the same notes that I refer to in the lecture. I can actually save on my time and just send out the notes and say पढ़ लो मेरा तो कोई लेना देना नहीं. However, if you have seen that lecture has gone through your cognition system, you have heard it, you have seen it. When that option pops, you may not explicitly remember it कि ये डिटेल याद नहीं आ रही, पता नहीं कौन था, but however वही सुना लग रहा है, पढ़ा लग रहा है, and you will tend to mark it out because at the end of the day it's an MCQ. That is how UPSC prep current affairs in depth, like way much more in depth is also done, is that you need to sit. That's why it is a strenuous prep, that you need to sit and hear out so much. So kudos to her that she did this, because not many people do this. Matlab, at the end of the day, it is all about the students' effort which aligns with the coaching academy's effort, and when both of them come together, it tends to produce a result, because I cannot say that it will for sure produce a result, because there are n number of factors to producing a result. Performance on exam day, anxiety, tabiyat on that very day, n number of factors that are at play here, and majority of them are out of our control. However, like she did, whatever is in our control has to be completely completed, I would say satiated, before we take the exam. Now we move on to part B.
Part B. So I remember every time you discussed a mock, you gave us topics for part B. So 8 passages the, so those 8 passages then became topics for mock, for part B of the mocks. Nahi mock to nahi, for in general. So I wrote down all the topics. I went back. I made it. I don't expect everyone to do this, but this was just what worked for me. I made 3 to 4 page long notes for every single topic. And 5 days before the exam, I went through all those notes, and I then created
we're talking about essays here.
Yes. No, it's not essays. Just essays.
Essays.
Just essays.
Yeah.
Yes. And then I wrote down the key topic, like the key subheadings from all of those, and then I revised those like the day before the exam. And luckily enough, one of the topics that you had given us, how women in households and the compensating women's work in household, and that is the topic that came up in the paper. I was running a little short on time, but I remember having prepared it. I had a few stats in my mind, and I wrote those, and I started off my answer only with a few
stellar
stats.
Strategy,
And
because
then,
again, just sorry to interrupt you. So what she's referring to, I'll try to make some sense for you as a viewer. So in the mocks, there are passages pulled out from newspapers. So they act as essay topics only. So essay topics, of course, they're not going to explicitly point out ki I'm referring to this topic. They'll give you a generic question, but it is interrelated to that. So what she is referring to here is that so there was a criticism, there was an endorsement of the movie called Mrs. by an author, and how thanks to our patriarchal societal structure is that women tend to do a hell lot more housework and are not compensated, and usually there are caste annotations to it, lot more. There was a passage in one of the mocks, and that is what she is referring to, that acted as the base material for the eventual essay that popped up, right? And again, she put in the effort. I keep on telling her कि यही है. People keep on saying कि नहीं वो अलग से ऐसा कुछ topic वगैरह दो. अरे भाई वही है. So you made those topics. You made those notes.
Right, for essay section, for the for part B in terms of the legal reasoning, I would write my answers for also all the cases that we had on the portal. I would attempt all of those. I would do it for one side first, get it either checked from my father, because he's been very helpful throughout that,
right,
or send it to, for the mocks I sent it to you, of course, or I even reached out to like my seniors who are either studying at NLS or are pursuing law or have a brief idea of how to write like a legal reasoning answer.
Right.
Of course, that's not as their feedback was not as helpful as it would have been from the academy itself. But again, it was important in terms of just my language that I use. That's the feedback I took from them. And then I went ahead and wrote the other side of the argument as well.
Okay.
So I think that is what helped out, because on the day of the paper, you really don't know which side you have to write for or what side you will eventually end up writing for unless you start writing.
Yeah.
So you need to equip yourself that it could go either way. So prepare for both.
Right.
Let's say I can think of one topic, one argument for, but I can think of two for against, but it's not a very conventional position to take, but I still will take it because I have practiced it.
Right.
And I know I can do that. So for part B specifically, you really can't clear it without practicing it. You could think in your head that, okay, I know how to make the arguments, I know how to reason out my stance, but when you start writing it out, it is so important to be specific, succinct, but still detailed. I don't know how that really works out, but these three things you need to include on your answer, and I don't think I would have done it if I would not have practiced it. So practicing was very important.
We went from mock 1, 37 to an eventual selection. That's like huge. Your marks in part A, part B were? Part A was?
So I got a 53.75 in part A and a 43.5 in part B.
So that part B, part B performance was stellar. I've had people who scored like a 62 in part A and not made it thanks to a very low score in part B, like 31, 32 is. That 43 demonstrates that we are perhaps in the top 20, I would say, in part B, because that is how stringent it is. So at around 43, you must be showing up somewhere around the top 20 mark. Because rank 1 is 48.5, rank 30. Khushi is a bad student. She has a 48. But again, almost the same score as you in part A. Again, I classify it as a mid-tier score. It's certainly not a top score, because a top score crosses 58 plus.
Definitely.
And when we are looking at a 53, 54, then part B can come to your rescue. So, and part B, part A is reading. Part B is only writing, and then having someone on your head to assess a minimum of 5 mocks, I would say. The ideal amount of mocks is around 10. 8 to 10 में हो जाता है काम, और अगर उसमें नहीं हो रहा तो फिर नहीं होना. आप 30, 35, 40 जितने मर्जी कर लीजिए, नहीं होता है. 10 में आपको समझ में आ जाएगी कि exactly, because it's pretty much the same thing, right? And so this is the main purpose of these interviews is, for example, I know that these interviews do not fetch us like an insane number of views or anything, but let us say that there are 5 people who are mock 1 जिनका भी 37 के आसपास, 40, 45, whatever that is scoring. The selection is still possible. It is there. The evidence is there, but the evidence is there when you couple it out like with the efforts that she made. And unless and until that happens, see, I have taught the same to everyone, right? Pretty much. You saw how many people were there right in this very classroom taking the mocks, etc. सबका तो नहीं होता, किन्हीं का होता है. उसमें से अब सबका नहीं होने में there are n number of factors, but one factor usually across the board in my decade of teaching for law entrances and all of these exams is जिनका effort हल्का सा भी ज़्यादा हो गया, which aligns with the effort that I put in, and then basically it goes through by God's grace. Again, the biggest factor I believe is पता नहीं क्या है ऊपर क्या है, God knows. अच्छा जी, तो ये बात हो गई part B की, and then part A we have gone through, essays we have gone through. Anything that you would like to add before we wrap this up? So let us say that Shreya is watching, her 24 version is watching this very interview and she doesn't know you. कि क्या करें क्या ना करें जीवन में, and you are also that clat में मेरा प्यार ठुकरा के इंतकाम देखेगी type. So NLSAT में NLSAT and all these 3-year LLB entrances usually people get into, so it is quite competitive. people get into a lot of rage mode कि उस time पे नहीं हुआ था. Now I am going to show you. So, to advise to your younger self then.
Okay.
Before we wrap this up, if you have anything to add.
So, the most important thing is that you be true to yourself. That how much you're studying, be true to yourself. That okay, maybe I had to study 10 hours today, but I ended up studying 7. Tell yourself you are in a backlog of 3 hours. Cover those 3 hours up. Don't think that just because you've put in 70% of effort today, that's good enough. You need to put in that 100%. Otherwise, you're the one who will eventually end up being disappointed. So, might as well put in the effort it takes. It's just a few months of hard work and genuine, like following the advice of people who know better than you. Do that. Don't let things get to your head. Don't think that it's a very competitive exam, there's very few seats. It is, definitely. But no, the other people who are giving it there, no one who's giving the exam is extra special. Everyone, no matter how experienced they are, it can be equalized with effort. Effort is the ultimate equalizer for this exam, I believe. And one more most important thing that I would like to say is that build a routine. Build a routine and follow it like a religion. Do it every single day. You'll get bored. That's okay. Still follow it. And that's how you genuinely build the discipline that this exam ka prep requires.
Right. On a wrapping up note, as Steve Jobs said, so based on a lot of phone calls that I get over here for the inquiry, many people are intimidated by this exam. A, by the college. B, by people who have, attempted and cleared it. As Steve Jobs rightly said, that the world is made up of people who are no smarter than you. So, and everything can be equalized by effort. And so people mostly focus on reservations, cutoffs, seat matrices, how many seats are available, what quota, this, that. You only need one. Right? And second is that can only come in with effort. So if you're willing to put in that effort, everything else can be equalized by effort. So no need to worry. People who have gone to the college, been there, done that, graduated now. The 22 batch recently graduated. The 23 one will very soon come out. This is काफी लोग यहाँ से जो ईश्वर की कृपा से जो निकले, nothing, मतलब everyone's a standard Joe, just like I am, just like everyone is. So no need to get intimidated. Take your best shot. I hope these interviews are of help to you, because that is what the main aim is. Well, of course, the other aim is to do pseudo marketing also, but that's a separate story altogether. ठीक है जी. All right. On that note, we wrap this up.